Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. It's rainy here. and I'm trying to do these things early in the morning because I find out I kind of get tired. Uh, the stints they put in me are fully expanding now, so uh, eh, it takes a little out of you. So I'm gonna press on. So my age, probably young people too, tend to stay up late at night watching television, only to be interrupted by countless advertisements, ads. And you cut the cord, so you get some streaming services, and now they're finding ways. I mean, YouTube I like, but holy crap. Um, so many drug medications. Hopefully, we got somebody in Washington now who's going to pull the plug on that. And if they do pull the plug on, pharmaceutical medication advertisement or advertisement, you could probably kiss the likes of Jimmy Kimmel, Steve Colbert goodbye because they pretty much that's their sponsorship. But I haven't watched late night since well, it wasn't funny. I think the last show I thought was probably Conan. I thought he was a different type. I like Letterman, but my favorite, of course, was Jay or Johnny. But I digress. Ben, right with you. So where do these things come from? Yes, the other day I spoke about the necessity of invention, the mother, the need. The need. We don't need these. However, if you got a product, you got to get the word out. So the first ad I think that was ever recorded in English, we'll keep it simple, because graffiti doesn't count. Because if you go that far back, you'll find that in the first century and then like the second or third BC century, you know, saying, this Pharaoh was a dick. You're going to find that inside the tombs. Um, but the first one in English, let's just go with that, with the purpose of, people letting the populace know that I've got something for you you can't possibly live without. Well, the first one was by William Caxton in English, 1476. And this guy, he knew his audience. So he takes a bunch of handbills, starts tacking them on church doors. Didn't matter which, because he is selling a new church book of prayer. Y'all got to get this. This is the straight shot to the big guy himself. I don't know what he said. It could have been something like that. You see so many things like that now. But I digress. Once again, going back to the Democratic Party. Okay, the first newspaper ad, I'm trying to stay in the United States now because that's where our history is, was by, I think I can't remember my handwriting, the Boston Newsletter. First edition was April 24th, 1704. So we're talking right at the beginning of the 18th century. He was a little ad space and they're, trying to sell off a 20-acre estate on Long Island somewhere. It doesn't mention how much it was for, though. And like I said, that was the first edition. The first American magazine ad was it was called the magazine itself. It was a general interest magazine, just called the General or General, and of course it's by one of our faves, Benjamin Franklin. What do those people need? I know what they need. So the first thing he advertised in his magazine on the inside was next month's magazine. He knew his audience. Yeah, y'all are going to like this stuff. I'm going to tell you what time the sun comes up, what your neighbor's saying about it. First celebrity endorsement. This counts, I guess. Josiah Wedgwood, pottery maker, big to dos. In 1760, he goes out and he says, "My product is so good." Well, how good is it, Joshy? It's so good, Queen Charlotte uses it. Never heard from the Queen or Her Majesty herself, but he used that as a celebrity endorsement. Come on down, you got to buy my pottery and stuff like that. First billboard. This makes plenty of sense. In the United States, the first place a billboard went up is where you got to have a lot of streets. So, New York City, 1835. Some promoter bought some space, Jared Bell, and he was pushing they just came to town. The great, the Great Wallace shows. It was a circus. Not saying New York isn't, but they brought in one. And apparently, he probably, advertised times, tickets, locations. Not a lot of hints on this, but, that's what I would do. Now, the first product placement, we see this all the time in the movies. Now, E.T., Reese's Pieces, PepsiCo, everywhere. Stuff like that. Or, see some guys getting ready to fight, they're drinking a Budweiser, the real Budweiser, the red label one, the long neck, convenient for disagreements in watering hole plantation areas. So this is fascinating. In 1873, one of the most popular writers besides Mark Twain was Jules Verne. He just came off the high of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and Journey to the Center of the Earth. So he's writing this new book um, about going around the world in 80 days. Hey, it's Jules Verne. It's going to be a hit. Remember, this is the guy also said, we'll probably launch a rocket one day from the east coast of Florida. Yeah, he said that in the mid 19th century. Ooh, spooky. But anyway, he point referenced a shipping firm called the Peninsula and Orient Steam Navigation Company. He even made reference to a ship of theirs using their specs. So, don't know if you got any money for that. Don't know if you got a discounted trip. It would have been nice, wouldn't it? So, but those details got lost to history, as they say. And back then, paper just fell apart. On to page 2. First, ad mascot. I know you're thinking small, fluffy dogs, kitty cats. No, not so. It's the Quaker Oats man. Apparently, back when they got started, in the, thank you, Jackson, got started back in the early 19th century, they went for that stern look of a Quaker. He has gotten softer over the years, so maybe just like oatmeal, you add milk to it. Maybe some brown sugar wouldn't hurt either. But it's very binding. First mascot, Quaker Man, Quaker Oats Man. In 1892, these are the people you need to blame for every time you go to the mailbox, you get stuff that you didn't ask for. This little company, it's a startup. They got a big deal going on. One of the biggest things they started to sell in mass quantities were pocket watches. Well, think 19th century. What's one of the biggest things we have going for us in our country? The rail system. You gotta be on time. You gotta be on schedule. Gotta have a watch. Well, they came up with a neat old idea. Let's send out about 8,000. I apologize. 8,000 postcards about some of these great products we advertise and we can get delivered to your house, homestead, or apartment via the mail service. You gotta remember, the mail service was quite something. You could actually ship people that way sometimes. I'm going to look into that. I have heard both BS and real S about this, but yeah, they were a little bit more liberal. I mean, well, they needed the business. Yeah, it's back when they had to make money. So, out of 8,000 postcards, this little company, Sears, Roebuck and Company, got 2,000 responses. 25% return, that ain't bad on some of the products you're pushing. And this is where all your direct marketing and junk mail comes from the start. 1892. Be sure, oh, they're out of business. You can't bother them now. First radio ad, 1922. Several, sorry, several East Coast, well, northern East Coast radio stations. They said they would become toll broadcasting. Toll, Toll. Yeah, they'll be selling airtime, is what that means. And they'd sell it for, well, I think I wrote it down. Yeah, selling airtime. A New York real estate management firm by the name of Queensboro Corp. They paid 200 big ones, $200 for a 15-second spot aired 4 times a week on the radio station WEAF in New York. It basically was an ad that went over apartments that were in the general area of Queens that were available and for rent. There you go. Toll broadcasting. Some of the stuff you can't make it. First commercial jingle. This is actually a song attributed to a product. Yeah, whatever. I can't do it. So anyway, it was aired Christmas Eve, 1926 in Minnesota, Minneapolis station. And it featured a quintet, excuse me, a quartet, singing about the benefits of this marvelous cereal, Wheaties. You, you think Michael Jordan, you think Tiger Woods, you don't think about four blind guys, I don't want to say that, four white guys singing about Wheaties in the middle of winter. I don't know what time it was, probably prime time, 8 o'clock, back when things were fun and probably live. Um, First use of a popular song and ad. We've seen these all before. Like a Rock, Bob Seger. Give me a second. It's about, I want to say Chevrolet trucks. I might be. Well, obviously that was not the first. General Motors, they were pushing their Oldsmobile in 1928. And in 1905, there was this little hit song that said, "In my merry Oldsmobile." So they just threw a couple extra words like "buy now, buy now, buy now," or I don't even know what they had. Easy crank, start. I don't, but they would add lyrics to it to kind of push that sell of the Oldsmobile. The first television that was actually television broadcast that was actually sponsored. This is brought to you by stuff like that. In 1946, NBC, they had a travel show called crap, Geographically Speaking. Yeah, we were like that. Boring. Thank God we got out of that. It was brought to you by the mad scientists at Bristol Myers. They didn't say mad scientists. I'm just trying to make you stick to the end. First TV commercial, July 1st, 1941. 1941, before Pearl Harbor. Who's got a TV? And they didn't air all the time. Just like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to stop doing that. Doesn't air all the time. Just like what 4 hours a day in the beginning. So it has to be New York, of course. So they're getting ready to show this baseball game in New York on WMBT. I'm sure it has something to do with the Dodgers. I don't know. Well, right before they show it, they put up a still image of a clock, and it says Bulova, the watch company's watch time, and it gave the real time. Probably showed it for like 30 seconds, and then went to the ball game. Kid you not. See, the funny thing about that is, there's only like I said, it's 1941, 7,500 sets in New York City, 7,500. And so I'm sure they still, they had quite a few buildings up. You might have loss of signal due to line of sight, and they only aired so many hours a day. Of course, if you had no power, for a long time, people just thought the signal came through the plug. I was one, but then again, I changed to 5 years of age. So now this one will get you. Now most of our crap comes through the internet. Spam. Can't do that. Um, so the forerunner of Al Gore's World Wide Web. Oh, God, I'm sorry, just threw up a little bit in my throat. Um, y'all know he had almost absolutely nothing to do. I think he was on the board for some financing to this group. Okay. Well, the military, ours, and a couple of colleges got together and they started putting things together, communications between computers via the phone lines, and we call that ARPANET. I I did it before. I can't remember what it is now. So in 1978, I was 19. And no, I wasn't in Vietnam. And the average age of the soldier in Vietnam was not 19. That was greatly exaggerated in that song. But then again, you got to find a rhyme. One hit wonders. I lost my train of thought. So in 1978, this guy named Gary, he's working with this group of Forerunner Internets. And he uses the command for their electronic communications function, email. So everybody else that's working on this project, or at least 397 accounts, all got this unsolicited message. I don't even know what it is. It's been lost at a time. See if how this looks. Send it back to me. Reply to a friend. Don't break the chain or bad luck will happen to you. Something like that. Okay. Well, this is what you do when you don't sleep at night. You start going, who starts this crap? But yeah, so you got some joker at some military institution or higher level of college communications going, I'll just see how well this works. So late night, hopefully we'll get rid of those FISA derm or whatever the hell they're called now ads. I don't know how they even make up the name of some of these drugs. They're, throw another consonant in there or valve or something. But that's me. That's CW for today. Still here at BTH&T, looking to make it to 105 subscribers. So, yeah, hope to see that soon. I'll find something interesting. I was thinking about maybe going for a trip, but I got a big day today. I got to see how well I do. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate it. See you next time.